What becomes apparent with quantum neurology in any sort of adjustment to a system of processes called psychiatry and psychology has to do with a birth rate. Human population on planet Earth no doubt has caused part of climate change. But what's missing from the discussion about a birth rate and climate change has to do also not only with misdirection, confusion, timing, echoes, hallucinations, but stimulation, drug addiction, and those parts of what observers use to travel from place to place unnoticed. And also magicians who can pull a knife faster than a United States Navy SEAL in battle, unfortunately now. And a big, fat, huge, sweet and decadent and awesome and disgusting for some who enjoy mutilation and bondage, foot fetishes, and dressing as a clown to scare children during Halloween now, involving reward. And so, with birth rate, psychologists and psychiatrists unknowingly and quite possibly consciously limit and restrict and control with their input for economics and behavior. They study in experiments where they get information from monkeys and rats and humans who they incarcerate in jail occasionally. So within, again, these examples and descriptions and words and language and sentences and sounds, there's an eventual discussion about quantum neurology and a birth rate not protected under a governmental Congress of glasses wearing counselors who are therapists, prescribing psychiatrists in hospitals, universities and colleges, clinics, and therapy centers around a globe called planet Earth now. But, however, a next sentence, a next thought, a next sound and there's an easy and visceral reminder from world wars, battles in on top of mountains where Pat Tillman died. And a long time ago in Korea and Germany and Europe, Russia, and a long, long time ago here in the United States of America, when freedom was an observation ended with a battle in 1776. Now, what these historical memories have to do with a birth rate has to do with climate change also, as a new reminder for an earth not only overcrowded, but seeking only stimulation and reward and economical value. They call a system with a processes of truth and facts with appropriate behavior now. A free world only has freedom, and freedom only happens when the free grow food for consciousness and use energy not only for their families, but for those who are poor and suffering, confused and misdirected, and often and occasionally also intellectually disabled. Now, intellectually, complexity, intelligence are all a part of the difficulty with quantum neurology. I would say in a dissertation defense, in a doctorate meeting with a professor, but they are not a conclusion to the freedom provided with the mathematics and the logic and the emphasis not on stimulation but energy and food, housing and warmth, awareness above all of those other big requirements. And then attention and concentration and focus and remembrance. A planet only survives when inhabitants, as an explanation, respect the land and the earth. The Native Americans have said since they were removed from their lands in North America, and then those lovers, those sexually addicted drug addicts, those internet matchmakers on those websites can finally have information to explain why there's condoms and why older men and younger women, no matter what the baby in high school says to the man who's in his 30s, shouldn't be going away with them, nor should they be fornicating having intercourse and sexual activities until the law, a government, a group of humans help them with their problem caused by a person enjoying what they shouldn't have and shouldn't be offered now. Ever, ever, ever. Jeffrey Epstein made these kinds of choices. Famous people visited his location, enjoyed young women, unfortunately girls. And besides these difficult conversations about obvious information, there's choices humans can make to still enjoy one another's love and not always decide to make 1,000 babies in a cult. To have their consciousness always a novelty and always available, while the children and as their babies grow old. A consciousness with processes involving energy, sleep, attention, and an important awareness give a human concentration and focus, a person, folks, people, to find out what they can do to participate in a world on earth called civilization. With the explicit and obvious information, too many children, too much pollution, and an addiction to stimulation and reward from psychologists and psychiatrists in a system with processes previously used by slave owners and murderers and killers and rapists, abusers. Then a consciousness has a hope and audacity Mr. Former President Barack Obama spoke about and speaks about as a Nobel laureate, and what Greta Thunberg worked so tirelessly to accomplish, not yet having the intellectual ability of a college professor, teacher of science and duality now. And then there will be a change. Possibly, hypothetically, theoretically, potentially, Gandhi said, would be what change those who wanted change wished to see in the world. And nobody will hurt them who believe and trust in non-duality instead of violence and conflict and stimulation and reward. Will be hurt ever again. Nobody will be able to hurt anybody without their permission. In other words, now